WWE has had its fair share of athletes in the ring, guys who can go, but guys who also have been considered underutilized for as good they are in the wrestling ring, both in and out of it. And in this week's edition of PJR, we talk about three guys who, in my opinion, Juice, are a little underrated. I know one of them has had championship success in NXT. One of them is former tag team champion multiple times. Actually, two of them are former tag team champions multiple times, as well as a United States champion and intercontinental champion. Probably one of the better intercontinental champions of the last decade, 2 decades. So, and these three guys we are talking about on tonight's PJR is Chad Gable, Johnny Gargano, and Shelton Benjamin. Now, Juice, this is a really, really hard PJR because I do like all three of these guys. I think I have my release ready, and I think it might shock you, but I don't know if you want to go first or if you want me to shock you with who my release would be in this scenario.
I'll go first because my release might shock you too. I love these people so much. I think Johnny's probably my favorite personal wrestler of the three, and then probably Shelton, and then Chad. But like all three of them, fucking are goated. But PGR is about what you do if you have to make the hard decisions. If you're the man in charge, I'm pushing Chad Gable. I think he's got the most to give out of these three. If these rumors of possible push that are happening are true, that's long overdue. The dude is magic on the mic. He is a great underdog babyface, but he's also one of the most entertaining heels on the mic I've ever heard. He has a great catchphrase. Well, two, right? Shoosh and thank you. And he's just so lovable. And in the ring, that dude's I think he's one of the best in the world in the ring. I don't think he gets nearly enough credit, and he does get credit. Like, people on the internet talk about how good this man is, but I just think he's even better than that. I think this is a guy that in-ring ability rivals Bryan Danielson. I think he's that good in the ring because he's so many bangers on TV, but it's time to give him some pay-per-view matches. I think if this is a guy that, if booked on the top of the card, he would deliver and deliver some classics. This is a guy that is very, very, very capable of 5-star matches consistently. And 2K22, man, I booked him as a champ, and I kept giving bangers and bangers and bangers. I know life's not a video game, but yeah, Chad's my push. My job is Shelton. I think Shelton's just so reliable and a great worker. Definitely a guy I think is very worthy of a main event picture, but I'm also thinking of this currently where they are now. And this is not realistic to say that, but he is a great gatekeeper. I do think he's a guy that I'd definitely be capable right now of having mid-card title reigns and being a great gatekeeper to the main event scene. But that means I'm breaking my own heart, releasing the rebel heart, Johnny Gargano. He just doesn't seem to be connecting with the main roster crowd, which breaks my heart and soul. But that makes the decision to release him easy for me from a business standpoint, even though I'd just be crying and just drinking multiple bottles of whiskey after I do it and just crying myself to sleep and just so sad and just inconsolable.
Well, you made my job easy for me because I have literally the exact same PJR. I think that Gargano is a great wrestler. I think that he is a swell in-ring talent, but he does just have those stereotypical indie guy knocks that typically people have for WWE superstars. His size, he can talk. It's not that he can't talk, but like you said, he just doesn't really connect with this main roster crowd. NXT loves him. I mean, you heard the reaction for when he came back and is going to be facing Grayson Waller. Like, the crowd was so pumped. And when people thought that Johnny Elite, when it was John Morrison, but actually was not Johnny Gargano, who people thought was going to be going to AEW, the crowd was excited for that too. But in ring, he's fine. And I just, like you said, from a company standpoint, I just think I'd put more eggs in the basket of both Shelton and Chad Gable. Like Shelton Benjamin, unfortunately, has been a career mid-carder in WWE, but like he's killed it in that role. I think if it was my company, I'd give him a little bit more limelight, but he can put on a great match. And in his younger days, he wrestled the likes of Shawn Michaels and Triple H and John Cena and all of these guys in matches that it didn't look like he was getting carried. He held his weight. He was able to go in there with literally the top stars of that era and put on great matches. He arguably has one of the most infamous, what's the era after Ruthless Aggression? Thank you. I know you didn't say it, but thank you, brain, for remembering that. Ruthless Aggression. He arguably has one of the most memorable spots of the Ruthless Aggression being his top rope springboard into a Shawn Michaels super kick. And that just proves he's a phenomenal in-ring talent, can go tell a story, do these things. And the team angle stuff when it happened, World's Greatest Tag Team when it happened, they were all great. He in the Hurt Business too. And he's well past that time of the World's Greatest Tag Team at that point. And he went to Japan. He won. He got over in Japan. And I hate putting him in the job position, but I truly believe that Chad Gable is the next breakout star. And we've been saying that for years. Everybody's been saying that for years, because when he was in American Alpha and, working in NXT as the champion and matches against FTR, DIY, those guys, like phenomenal, so great. Some of the best tag team matches I've seen live in terms of like watching the product live. And the stuff with Alpha Academy is pretty good too. But like you said, these rumors of him getting a push, because let's be honest, he's been on a featured match on Raw for multiple weeks at this point, and at least in featured segments as well too. The catchphrase is great. The crowd's starting to get behind him in terms of like loving to hate him. And I hate to be like, he's so comparable to Kurt Angle, but he really is in terms of his in-ring, his background, how the crowd is like loving hating him right now. Because he was just always this like clean cut shoot wrestler who was just phenomenal in the ring and could cut a decent promo. But now he's just leaned into being this like annoying prick who like thinks he's just simply better because he's a good wrestler. And I think that the Chad Gable character can go in a lot of different directions, similar to Kurt Angle. And I do just see money with Chad Gable because he's also kind of a handsome man. I won't lie. He's kind of a handsome man. And I feel like that's a face you can push pretty well, and people would be receptive to it. But Juice, of course, this PJR always brings opinions, and you can let us know on social media your opinion. You might be yelling at your computer screen right now saying Johnny Wrestling deserves to be the push because he's the greatest wrestler in the planet. He's Johnny Takeover. Sure, to each their own. But Juice, where can the people let us know on social medias?
First, you can go to Twitter and you type capital T, capital O, capital T, capital C, underscore, capital P, lowercase o, lowercase d. And then you go to Instagram, take the same, I'm dying, same thing. T, O, T, C, underscore, P, O, D. I'm alive and I got through that.
Well, I'm happy to see that you are living. And I am happy to see that you made it through that with no other issues. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. Please make sure you are liking, rating, and subscribing to our YouTube channel. It helps us and we like it always. Make sure you comment down below your PJR. Let us know on social media, all that good stuff. And again, we want to thank you all so much for tuning in, and we will catch you next time.